Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Becky from Bags by Becky Mac. In today's video, we are making this adorable crossbody bag, the Belen bag by Shamballa Bags Designs. The material I use is a wonderful floral vinyl from Cheryl at Bolt's Bag Faux. And inside this bag, I use waterproof canvas from FWD. It has a zipper pocket with a zipper overlay. It's a mighty little bag. I will be using my 1341 cylinder arm sewing machine on a space-saving table which I purchased from Steve at Sewing Gold in Chicago. I also purchased this mini extension table from Barb at Recent Relics Designs. I will have all the links in the description box below. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you would like to purchase this bag or other bags I have made, you can go to my website at bagsbybeckymac.com. Thank you, and let's get started. Okay, let's go over the material and hardware you'll be needing to make this beautiful bag. You're going to need 2 exterior main panel pieces, 1 bottom, 2 sides. You need a flap panel back, which is going to be the inside, and all these pieces here have been interfaced with fleece out of the seam, and then the markings for the male snap and for the connectors that you're going to use. You'll need the front flap with the lining contrast band, and I have not interfaced that, made the markings with the centers, but once this is put together, then you take your fleece out of the seam allowance and interface that. You'll need 2 lining contrast bands, the zipper overlay, your strap, your piping strap. The lining is very easy. You need 2 lining pieces and 1 zipper pocket piece. So there's the pieces and the materials you're going to need. Don't forget to find your centers. Now here's the hardware, coming out with my thread, number 5 zipper tape. In the pattern she calls for number 3. I didn't have any, so this one matches, so I'm going to go with the number 5. You need cording, some rivets, a slider, 2 swivel hooks, your logo, a zipper pull, number 5, your 2 connectors, your magnetic snap, and I decided to put purse feet on there, which is optional, and then the hardware that goes with the connectors. So let's get sewing. Okay, now we're going to prepare the piping, which is optional for this purse. I chose an accent to go with this. I have my markings, which are in the pattern, and you get your straps here, and you put double-sided tape or glue, and you get your cord, and you fold down. I'm going to do it at one end because I realized when I get to the other end, it's still a little long, and I don't know if it's because of the material. So you fold it down like that, and you put the cord in the center, and then I put a piece of 8-inch double-sided tape to help fold when I fold it over. So we're gonna go like that and cut that off. Don't need that. Okay, and then try to peel it and start at one end and kind of keep your ends in. You can run another piece of double-sided tape if you want to hold that end in, but it won't show once you start sewing anyways. And then just press it down until you get to the end. And you can clip it if you feel like your tape isn't going to hold, but this is pretty strong tape. I know the ends are a little bit more thicker, so the tape doesn't hold, but we'll get that fixed. So take it all the way down to the end. Like I said, I did make a mark on that end because for some reason, even with my measurement, I have a little left over. Okay, so now you're going to take it and you're going to place it at that mark. And we'll get some clips and gently put it around the edge, lining it up with the edge. I get to about this point, and then I'm going to start clipping, and you want to make real small clips in the piping. And I don't know, I'll do about 10 or 11 once I get kind of feel like I'm around the corner here. And about 1/8 to 1/4 inch. Okay, you can always add more. And you turn your piping. It's a little stiff. It's mine. Vinyl's a little on the thick side, but because I'm using my cylinder arm, I am not worried about that. If you're on a domestic, you might want to be careful what materials you use for the thickness of this. So, and then I also, just to make sure, I flip mine around, and then I can line it up that way as well. And then I'll start clipping again, just to get around that corner. Like I said, just start. I kind of like doing it better this way. You know, each person has their own way of doing it, but I feel like this gives me exactly where I need to be. Okay. And then you pin up all the way on the other side. Pin, clip. Okay, and then I'm going to get to here, and see I end up having extra. So what I'm going to do is undo that a little bit, pull this down, which is kind of nice, and then we need a little fold, so I'm going to guesstimate, and then I want to fold this down to the mark, and once I fold that down to the mark, then cut your cord right below that and fold it over. Goofy stuff. Again, it won't show. Kind of have to work with it a little bit because it hasn't been folded. And then clip it. Stick that. Flying clips. How many of us have done that before? Okay. And pin that. Clip that. Oh. All right, it's a little thick. But again, my machine, with the cylinder arm, I'm going to be great with that. So it's just getting the clips to work. Okay, so now that it's all clipped in place, we're going to take it to the machine and we're going to baste around it at 1/8 seam allowance. Okay, oops, sorry about that. Trying to get my chair right. All right, so I have my machine on. I have this lined up, and you always have to hold your threads when you start for at least 1 or 2 stitches. give it an extra one. And this is great because you can do one stitch at a time. Now again, we're just basting this in. So take your time and enjoy. And you have to watch. Sometimes the clips will get stuck on this little table that I have, which I just love, this little extra support on this cylinder arm. I have a narrow foot on my machine. I love the speed of it. I don't feel like it's going to run away with me like my 1181. Goes around the corner so nicely. And I just scoot the clips, push that down a little bit. And then when I sew it onto the handbag, it's going to get a little bit closer because the seam allowance is a little bit bigger. So I'm just basting as we go here. Just nice and easy. So much fun. Once you get comfortable with this machine and get to know everything, the feel for it is just fantastic. Just absolutely fantastic. You just lift your foot up, and you'll get the feel for that too. You lift your foot up, and it stops. Press it back down slowly, and there you go. And remember, I told you how thick this was up on top. It doesn't hiccup. It's like butter. It runs right over it. And you want to go to the end. Don't forget to back stitch. And push on the corner of my petal. And we are done. We have it all on there. Okay. Okay, now we're going to work on making the flap. So you're going to take your front panel flap. You're going to mark the margins on the front or on the back of it. You're going to put double-sided tape. The directions, again, are in the pattern for how much you need to mark it. Clip that piece out of there. And then you're going to fold it up to the line. And all the way down. Peel the other side. Fold it to the line there. On the line, I guess you could say. and then fold it up, press it down, and when you turn it over, you'll have a nice point. Then we're going to take your flap contrasting band and overlay it onto there. There'll be markings again on the pattern. And then go ahead and add some tape to hold the back so it doesn't move. And then go ahead to the sewing machine and I'll show you how to sew around it. And then when we're done with that, we will add the fleece and iron that on, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so press it in the corner, pop it up, and we're good to go. Look how pretty that is. Okay, so now I'm going to put my strap together for the crossbody. I'm going to make it an inch wide strap due to, again, the hardware I have available. Okay, so we'll get ready to do the straps. I have my stitch set at about 6, holding the threads, starting off slow just to get her position right. And I have my machine, it has a speed reducer on it, and I have it set at 500, which seems real slow, but this will kind of help give you the confidence that you need when you're getting used to the machine. So go at your own speed, but you can always pick it up. Set your reducer up higher once you get more familiar with your machine. I just kind of keep it on this because it's like therapy for me, and I enjoy it. Okay, now I'm going to put my connectors on, and we're going to slide this one through here, and then, I don't know, take it down about an inch. The machine. I'm going to put rivets on this and line it up. Back stitch. Okay. takes a little finesse. Then we have that. And you got to make sure that your strap is straight, and put on your swivel hook. Stick that through there, slide it, make sure everything looks good. That looks good, that looks straight. I always like to give it a little bit more. And then we put this one on, again, about an inch. Trim off that little goofy thing. And take your thread, hold it in place. Raise your foot up. Can you believe how that just goes through that? Like I said, I'm going to put a rivet in it, and the strap, crossbody strap, is made. Now, if you want, you can do another row across, but I'm going to be with the rivets. I don't think we're going to need it. So there is your crossbody strap. Okay, I ironed the fleece on the front flap. It's optional to add a name plaque if you want, or your logo. And then I also put the male snap on the back, because now we are going to sew these two together. You'll follow the instructions in the pattern. If it's vinyl, she says to glue the two flaps wrong sides together to make it double thick, and then you sew the seam allowance all the way around it. And I'm not sure if I'm going to edge coat. I might do that because of the thickness. We'll have to wait and see. So after you get your nameplate and your male snap, then take it over the machine and we'll sew all the way around it at the seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to top stitch around this at the seam allowance. Okay, and we'll go over and I'll look at the directions, and I think we trim all the way around it, but I'll double check. Okay, I already put my strap connectors on per the pattern instructions. So those are all done, and you can choose whatever strap connectors you want that suits your handbag design. And then I did go around and I trimmed down 1/8 of an inch on the flap, and then I connected it to the back exterior panel. And I don't know if you can see this, but this only happens once in a lifetime, but I did not plan this. But look at the flowers, how they actually match. I think that is so super cool. Doesn't happen often. So we're going to move on putting this flap onto the exterior, sewing across here at the seam allowance that's in the pattern piece. And then you can see the directions for if you want to add 2 rivets for security. I'd recommend that. I made one bag already out of this pattern, and it wanted to lift up from here. So I would highly suggest putting 2 rivets here So I will take care of that and I'll come back and let you see what it looks like. Okay. We're going to sew across here and add that extra top stitching. And if you want, you can sew across the stitching already up here, or if you want, you can also just stitch around and then wait, and then when you put the flap onto the back exterior, then you can lower your needle down to that stitch, go across here, and then add another stitch. So either way, it will work. All right, now I'm going to go over and put my rivets in. See you in a minute. Okay, I'm going to set my rivets here. I have a little mat underneath, and I'm going to take my hole punch and punch a hole through. Make sure my mat, because I don't want to cut my table. And put that there. And then get my rivets. Push them in there. These are 9mm rivets here. And just take them and push them on there. Okay. And then I will get my rivet press. Put that underneath. I always kind of line it up underneath there to make sure it's in the holder. You seem to have better luck that way. Press it down gently till you hit the bottom, and then give it a little push, and they're set. If I line it up at the bottom, sometimes, for me, it goes all cattywampus. So we make sure it's up in there, lower it down gently, and gently press. And there we go. We have two nice little rivets, and I think it looks gorgeous. Now we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're going to add the bottom, matching up the marks. And then we're going to take it to the machine and sew the seam allowance. And then we will flip it over and press the base of the seam allowance towards the base, and then we'll top stitch it at 1/8, and then repeat and do it to the other exterior, and then turn it over and top stitch it. Okay, let's go to the sewing machine. Alrighty. Now this will be at a, probably for me on this, about 4.75 stitches of length. And don't forget to back stitch. And don't forget to hold your threads. It's very important to always remember to hold your threads on this machine. Okay, clip that. All right, and now we're going to turn, and we're going to press the seam towards the bottom. Grab your threads. Sometimes mine's a little cantankerous. And move it over there. All right, change your top stitching. I put mine on a 6 with a stitch length. Get it started. And this takes a little time to work with it and make sure it's going okay. Once you get going on this and feeling so comfortable, you'll just love this machine. Like I said, it has a speed reducer on it, and you can always turn it up once you feel comfortable. I just kind of like the speed it's on right now. And that's what I do. Okay, now we're going to go do that to the other side. Okay, all done. Now we're going to take it back over to the table, and I think it's time to put the sides on. Okay, I've taken the plate off because this is what we want to see, is what the cylinder arm does for gussets. So I normally do it with the plate on, so we're going to do this together. I feel a little awkward because I'm used to having the plate help hold what I need for the brace, because that's where balance comes in, I'm telling you. Okay, so now we're going to do this at the seam allowance. Got to get this flap out of the way so I can have a little more room. All right, there we go. Don't forget to back stitch and grab your threads and set your stitch. Okay, back stitch. So we will do this together. Feels funny without the balance. I've gotten used to that plate. But this is what a cylinder arm is supposed to help you do. Is get around the tough stuff. Just still got to hold your bag up and give it balance, or your stitching will be definitely off. We'll just go slow and try this together. I'm going to concentrate, so and that's another reason why I like to go slow with the speed reducer. Off the track there a little bit. Have to push that in. There we go. Push it down a little bit. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Like I said, we're gonna try this together. See how it looks. stays together there. Looks like it's gone a little uneven, so see, that plate would hold that up instead of letting it swing. But again, we're doing something new. This is what you want to see a cylinder arm does. Okay. Oh, we missed a whole bunch here. All right, so we'll just pull that out. I could feel that slipping. That's all right. We'll just... Okay, well, I ended up going off the rails a little bit here without the table on it. I guess, as I said, I'm not used to using the table, but I wanted to show you what a cylinder arm can do, and I guess I didn't do very well on that, but we're going to go the other way now and see if we can finish it up this way. Sorry about that. I like the leverage of the table. And I guess I didn't hold it right. Again, it's all the manipulation part of the bag, but I'm here to teach you something, or at least let you watch and make mistakes. They'll do. Sorry, hope you can see. I'm just going over the stitches again. It looks like I've missed a little bit there. So just to reinforce it. And the bags are so pliable. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. If you're not going to use a plate. There. Yeah, I just guess I got too used to the plate and the stability it was giving me. But the reason for a cylinder arm is to make it easier to get around these curves. So we'll take a look and get that flap out of there. Okay, let's take a look at what we did here. Excuse me, what I did. All right, we're going to turn it in around here and take a look. I told you my material is kind of thick. It's beautiful to work with. That's what I was afraid of. When I had to reline everything up after it fell off the rails, it poked some holes right there. But doing it back the other way created a real nice side panel. So if it wasn't for that, which maybe it might heal, I don't know, some vinyls do, some don't, but it's still pretty. So now we'll go and pin the other side and give that a whirl. Okay, I got the other side pinned or clipped, and we're going to still stay with trying to do it this way, but I'm going to sew around this way instead of this way, and let's see if that's better to manipulate the bag. So we'll start up at the top. Better scoot that bad boy down. We all make mistakes, and that's what this is. It's learning how to either fix them or learn better. all a teaching lesson. I do know you have to kind of push the bag in from underneath here as you go. So that kind of helps give you the leverage. And let's see if I can do better this time. And just go a little slower. I know. How slow can you go? Well, one stitch at a time if I really want to. But I don't think so. And I put a few more extra clips in it too. Okay. Now I do know one thing is when you get down around here, you'll see this little piece. Make sure your needle is down, lift up your foot, and make sure you either take your stiletto or whatever to help hold that down, because it will just kind of push that under the dog feet. So just note to self on that. I've ran into that on other bags. All right, folks, here we go. Push that up underneath, hold it, and let it guide itself around. Okay, we got the one down there on the one seam. We're going to be coming around to this other seam. Got to make sure we hold that down. So far, so good. I don't see any slippage. But we're not done yet. Okay, so this is what I mean. You got to kind of watch what you're doing there. Okay, and then maneuver your bag a little bit over that way. Lift up your foot. Make sure that's going to go. And even if it does move, it's not that bad of a deal, because you are using this machine and it will sew through an extra layer. If it does curve it under, it just lays flatter better in the bag. Okay, let's keep on moving here. Press that underneath. Okay, and then we're going to turn it inside out and see how this gusset looks. I feel a lot better, a little bit more confident about this. Not there yet, but we're close. And then sometimes this will go off a little bit again. It's just holding it into your comfort zone, lining it up. Oh, you know what? Let's just clip this. Oops, sorry folks. Let the bag fall and clip it that way. There we go. And then we'll hold it right where we need it to back stitch. Pull that out. Clip. Okay. Let's take it over to the table and turn it out and see what it looks like. Okay, looking at it on that second time we did it, it went around real nice, stitched up real nice. So I would say that you definitely go down on this way to do your gussets. It seems to hold it better. Just remember, like I said, with the way that fold, but that caught it. It did it really nice. Now let's see what it looks like from the other side. Oh, such pretty material. So darn about those holes. Well, I guess I'll just put it on my website at a discount. Not a big deal. You don't really see them unless you look for them and know that they're there, but that's part of making bags. Oh, that turned out beautiful. Yeah, that's the way to go. So you want to sew your gusset on the cylinder arm from the inside and around. Look how pretty that is. That turned out really nice. We got a good start. Look at that. Really pretty. Yeah. Okay. We're going to move on to the next step. Putting the female part of the magnet. Now in the directions on the pattern, it has you do it at an earlier step. I don't know if some of you have done what I've done, but I have misaligned them. So I wait till I get to the point where I can bring my flap down and then make my mark and put the female part of it in there. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, now we're going to prepare the lining. Very simple. It's 2 pieces. Has a contrast band clip to it, your zipper pocket, zipper overlay, the bag tag if you'd like. We're going to go over and sew it at the seam allowance that's mentioned in the pattern. So let's get started. Okay, remember to hold your threads. I know I say that a lot, but it's very important. Don't forget to backstitch at the beginning and the end. And then we're going to fold seam allowance down there. And we're going to top stitch at an 1/8 inch. Okay, I had a little hiccup. I didn't hold my threads tight enough, and it changed the needle positioner, locked up, so I had to fix that. Hopefully in another video, if it happens, I will show you how to do that. Okay, we're ready to put the zipper overlay on the lining panel. You'll find the measurements, and you want to make sure that you center it. And I'm going to top stitch at number 6 stitch length. And I'm holding my threads because I'm going to pull them through. I'm not going to do back stitching on this. There's double-sided tape to hold it in position. Pull it, and then I will tie my I'm going to leave long enough so you can get it taken care of. Okay, so I've got the first around there, and now I'm going to prepare my zipper. I have that all ready. I'm going to just baste this on, and I can leave it at the 6mm per stitch length. Okay, now you want to bring this side up and make sure that it's lined up at the edge to the top of the zipper. Okay, now I'm going to take it over to the table, and I'm going to put double-sided tape on both edges. I might give it a press to help. Now I'm not pulling this through this pocket. What I do is I put the double-sided tape on it, and I leave it like this. Well, I should say this way, because my zipper is going to go this way in the pocket. And then I trim, flatten this out, cut this out, because then I'll show you how I turn a bag when it has pocket corners. I found this to be the easiest way. So we'll go over to the table and put this in the lining and go from there. Now what we want to do is clip the center here and cut this out, and I take my scissors and go underneath to about, a halfway point here, and go the other way and go underneath because I don't have any tape, and I flip it over and trim it down. Try not to get the zipper overlay in my scissor cut. I don't know, I'll have to turn that over and see if you see that. Nope, looks good. Because you do want to kind of pull it back and cut it up here. Kind of stops where the double-sided tape is. I'll clip it off of there. And see, now you don't see that. Okay, now we're going to go and kind of work that down a little bit. Okay, put this double-sided tape on the top of that. Make sure you figure out the direction you want your zipper to go. Kind of split the difference. This takes a little finesse, and I always line up the top first. And get my zipper pull where I need it to be. Okay, so what I ended up doing is I put a piece of 8-inch double-sided tape on the back of this one seam. That seemed to help press it down, and now I've got, looks pretty good, pretty centered. So I'm going to go over to the machine and, well, before I do that, actually lay this flat, and then I'm going to cut this all the way, and then because you have to open up your pocket so you can sew it down just like that. Okay, so we are going to put both of these together, match up your lining panels. Put some clips in them. Okay, and again, you're going to sew the seam allowance that's in the pattern. And as most linings, you start off at the seam allowance and then you increase it all the way down. There we go. Now, in the pattern, she says to sew this little bit here and this little bit here and leave a certain amount of opening. I don't do that because it makes it easier for me to flip the bag out, and then I'll pull this up through the pocket and sew it with box corners. I find this is very easy and it doesn't make it difficult to birth the bag. So check on your stitch length. And we're going to start off at the seam allowance. And then I find coming down about here is where I start taking it in to increase. And start increasing the seam allowance. And it's kind of even on both sides if you pick a good point like that. All the way down. All right, do the same thing on the other side. Okay, we're going to trim a little bit of that off down to about 1/8. And I'm not going to go on the lining, just go right up to it, cut that off, because that helps you line up when you have to put your seams together. And if you have too little of a seam, it's kind of hard to press that down. All right, now it's time to put the bag together. Well, here's a finished bag exterior. I added purse feet on it, just because I like purse feet. So what you're going to do, make sure your flap is down. And what I do is I take the open end, and you want to make sure your zipper pocket is to the back. If that's how you like it. I like my zipper pocket on the back, like most people do. So flip that over, make sure your flap's down. Pull this up through. And see, with that open, that just makes that so much easier. And you're gonna match up your seams, your little, and we're gonna clip all the way around, matching up your little notches. I do a couple first. There we go. The mind's willing, but sometimes the hands aren't. And it's going to squish your bag a little bit, but that's how it goes. Okay, now we're going to turn it towards here. Clip jumped off. Oh, guess it broke. Oh, no piece. Okay, anyways, so make sure you don't grab these two seams on the sides. You want to look for your notch. Then you lay the seam open, and then take your notch and line it up like that. Clip it, clip your seam down, and you can, you know, of course you're gonna work on it a little bit to line it all up. And you can either open these seams up, since I didn't trim them down, to lay it flat up against. I'll pull that down a little bit. There we go. And clip them open. And clip that open. We'll go to the other side. Again, don't grab the wrong seam. Oh. Lay that down. Bring it up to the notch. My connector's kind of getting in the way there. Your seams open if you want, or lay them either way, whatever's comfortable for you. I kind of seem to want to just lay like that, so but I'm gonna try to clip mine open. Realign that a little bit. Okay, and then the rest should just fit very nicely. Go ahead and clip around the rest of your bag, and I'll meet you back at the sewing machine. Ready to sew the lining to the exterior. I'm going to start on the back. Sometimes that moves. Foot underneath. Okay. Sorry, I hope that's a better picture. So with the box corners, what makes it nice then when you turn your bag is you don't have this extra here that you have to try to shove this through. What you're going to do is just pull this out, pull your bag out. There you go. So much easier than trying to shove it through there. And then you take your bag and you put your lining inside the bag, and of course get your your straps and everything, your contrast strap, and you roll it between your fingers, and then get it ready for clipping your top stitch. And it should lay nice. And what happens then is you're going to open up your zipper pocket and you're going to pull your lining through here after you top stitch. And you pull it through here. Sew it at the seam allowance, box your corners, sew it at the seam allowance, and shove it back in there. I will show you that, but I just wanted to give you kind of a heads up. Make sure everything looks good. And this way, if you need to like reach in and work out a seam that's not real straight or flat, it gives you that opportunity to get your hand in there without trying to work in a small little hole, and then it all lines up real nice. So I'm going to clip this, and then I'll come back and we'll top stitch it. We're ready to do the top stitching. Everything there. So much easier to do this without trying to shove it under the flatbed. Just go slow and enjoy the ease of it all. And just make sure you feel underneath that nothing's getting stuck on the table. I'm going to keep my big hands out of the way so you can see this. all the way around. Much easier that is. So much nicer on their hands. Done. Pull it out there and clip. And then we'll check and see how nice that top stitching is. I mean, so much easier. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do, and I hope you can see this because my camera angle, but again, you're going to reach into the zipper pocket. If you haven't done this before, and you can pull the lining out. And you're going to pull both ends out, and then you're going to clip it. And to me, doing this way is so much easier. One, for birthing the bag, and two, I don't have to fight trying to line up that little hole there for seam. This will be totally consistent all the way across. Takes a little bit of maneuvering, but and then you will sew it at the seam allowance that's usually adjusted in the pattern. Go all the way across. And again, it's the maneuvering part on the machine as well. So let's get started on that. Oh. Had a feeling my chair slipped down. So you got to be careful it doesn't get stuck on the table. I mean, you can take it over the flatbed if you want to do it that way. That's fine too. But I wanted to show you how you can do it on make the whole bag on a cylinder arm. A lot of it is just patience. Once you get it started, it should just go. I hope you can see it. Still got to kind of give your bag the stability that it needs. You don't want to do any stitching, ripping. Make sure that lines up. Back stitch. Okay, now that part's done. Set that off. And then trim it down. Now this could be a little trickier, but anybody who's done box corners can do this. You can lean your seam one way or the other and clip it. Pull out as much as you can without feeling like you're ripping the outside of the bag. Then I always, let me get the corners here, there we go. And then, because you don't want the clip in the way, I try to pull it out like that. Again, these are just little ways I've learned. You don't have to do it this way. You do it whatever's comfortable. But this is how I've learned to do box corners, and I love it. Which one's short here? There we go. Okay. Again, with the seam allowance, make sure you back stitch. Again, it's a balancing act. Take the stress off of that. Lay that down. Off and trim down your seam about 1/8. Now do the other side, and if you can, make sure that when you have your seam go this way, make sure this one does the same thing. Makes it lay flatter and nicer in the bottom of the bag. So just kind of wiggle it. Okay, so we want the seam to go that way. Flip it. And get a nice little angle on that. Right, all in the balance. Unfortunately, the camera stand is getting in my way here. But we'll get through it. Okay. Trim that. Seam. Okay, and now take those off of there. Push that back down through the zipper pocket. You'll have a nice seam. Okay, looks good in there. Got some threads hanging somewhere for a weird reason. Oh, it's probably from the inside. Okay, see how nice that fits? Nice bottom seam. Looks great. Okay, now you're going to do the same thing with the zipper pocket. You're going to close it up, bring it up here, and with that fold that I put in, I take it and I push it down, wiggle it a little bit, take the other side, do the same thing, push it up and out. Okay, and then all of you ladies have already done things like this, so I hope I'm teaching something new. And then kind of just work with it, increase it to the same length. And again, it just takes some finesse and a little time, so I will get this clipped up and I'll be right back. Alrighty, got it pinned, clipped, and you just go a little bit of a 1/8 of a seam allowance, as close as you can get to the edge, back stitch. Flip it. Alrighty. Okay. Push that down inside there. I don't know if you can see it if I lay it on my lap. I'm pushing the corners down. Get the pocket lined up in there. Again, I'm sure some of you have already seen how that's done, or you've done it yourself. Alright, zip it. Kind of reposition the lining. And close up our bag, and there we have it. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that cute? Okay. Okay, there it is, all done. I put the crossbody strap on it. It turned out absolutely beautiful, bright, springy. I hope you like this video. Thank you for your time. You have a great day.